What is up, crew? How's it going? Welcome back to another live stream here on KameTrick. We've got kind of a cool stuff lined up for tonight, as I forget to pop out chat and pull that over where I can see it next to the camera here. So I'm going to do that as well. What is up, Spiffy? Good to see you. Post Corner, hello. The Risey Shift the God. And Cooper. Y'all are early. Good to see you. What is up, Midwesties? Happy to see you as well. Thanks for always turning up. So, we are rolling. Gus Motors, how's it going? Got a few cool things in store for y'all tonight, but we're doing stuff a little bit differently. So let me explain that real fast. So first of all, we're going to start out the stream, and I did rename Ken. What's up, dude? Good to see you. He's one of my IRL buddies, so don't give him any hate for that. He's just giving me a hard time. We're going to start out with a little bit of solo driving. I'm going to bring on one of my friends from the Discord, the Black Hombre, and we're going to take a look at my force feedback settings and hopefully optimize them a little bit more. Something I've been wanting to do that I honestly haven't made the time for. I keep meaning to, it keeps not happening, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to take the first little bit of the stream and set a track up for everybody in the Discord who wants to go drive, but I will not be on that track, and so that's going to be OTM Mid-Pond. The password is posted into KT announcements, so you guys who want to go drive, start shredding. I'll join you after a bit. We're going to start out, we're going to look at some recommendations on how to set up your direct drive wheel, if you have one of those, for force feedback in Assetto Corsa, because the Black Hombre has been doing some cool work trying to figure out how his wheel works, which is a Moza R9, and I believe that a lot of the direct drive tech is going to work in kind of a similar manner. At least like the Assetto Corsa side force feedback will all work the same for any direct drive wheel, so then it's just a matter of figuring out what specifically works best for your software. He's really been pioneering in my Discord, one of the people leading the charge on doing experimentation, reading into the background for Assetto Corsa and for his Moza setup, and trying to figure out just what does what. And you know, that's how we learn everything. That's how I've learned what I know about real life drifting, is putting in that time and that effort. So we're going to bring him on, we're going to talk through that, and then in about an hour, actually about 50 minutes at this point, we're going to wrap this live stream and jump into a premiere. So everybody who's still watching an hour from now, and if you tune out and come back, that's cool too, but we're jumping into a premiere of my next YouTube video. And if you are in the Discord and you want to hop into general voice chat, just in the general chat channel, I will be in there as well. We can chill out. It's only like a 6-minute video or something, but you can watch that with me. We'll hang out, and then we'll do some more driving after that. I don't know if I'll go live again. It really just depends on the vibe. I might actually drive in voice with everybody, which is something I would like to do as well. So with that said, just know that I'm not going to be quite as responsive to chat, because I'm going to try to respect Black Hombre's time, and I don't want to take up too much of it because we've all got stuff to do. Alright, so we're going to try to bring him on, and hopefully we'll be able to hear his audio. Can you hear me? Yep, we're good. Okay, chat, let us know if y'all can hear Black Hombre as well, because otherwise it'll be kind of weird if I'm just talking to myself. We'll roll with it if so, but we'll give y'all a second. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our track. So we're going to be testing out our track with the Nevada Freight Depot, which is an Assetto Corsa map that's basically a big skid pad, and I'm going to be driving the WDTS 180SX. I'm just going to use regular non-POV mode for that. I'm going to take a second and do a little bit of laps. All right. Can you give us one more mic check? Of course it's going to be difficult, and it's probably not going to work, because why would it work? Wow, with that gain turned down? Okay, we're gonna have to roll without voice, but that's okay. I will narrate what is going on to chat. So the first thing that we did... Oh, cool. Ken can hear him. Red. Thanks, Ken. Alright, so we're just gonna assume that everybody can hear you, and if not, then, you know, it'll just be not the best stream that I've ever done. We've had worse, right? So the first thing that we did was we went into Assetto Corsa settings and we set the gain down from 100%, which is the default, to 50%, and I can definitely tell that the force feedback is reduced by 50% on my wheel. It is way light compared to what I'm used to. So that's interesting. Yeah, jump in. See if I can pull up my content manager window. I'm curious what that looks like. Okay, cool. So we can actually see that. So basically, if we go into settings over here, and then Assetto Corsa in the leftmost menu, you've got like all your wheel axes and things like that. There's these tabs along the top. And so in force feedback, this right here is gain, and normally that's a 100%. And we turn that down to 50. Okay, and then what have we discovered, or what are we gonna try out next? Because that definitely had an impact on the strength of my FFB that I'm feeling while driving. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. Right now I've got basic, I think it's all default. Basic active is on. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I don't have that set to display on the stream, but it's currently set to 32%, which I'm already prepared to double it because we just cut it in half by changing that gain down. Okay. Okay, and my wheel goes to 20, I believe. Fair, I getcha. Gotcha. Okay. One thing before we do that, on Assetto, on Content Manager, there is an override car setting checkbox. Do we need to check that or not? Okay. All right, as far as what I'm running at the moment, I have my damping set at 20%, friction at 5%, and inertia at 5%. Spring is off. Okay. Okay. I think so, yeah. Oh, music is overpowering. We'll just turn the music off. Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and drop that down to 0 to get a sort of a clean slate. And it would make sense because, like, well, a lot of older racing cars use manual steering. There's just one less thing to brake. And when they're revving so high, that tends to piss off the power steering systems as the pump will cavitate and overheat and things like that. So I wonder if that was part of the logic that the devs had for treating everything like it's a manual rack in the first place. Okay, interesting. All right, so in that case, we've got damping at 20, inertia at 5, and everything else is off. All right, shall we give this a try, or is there a few more things we need to adjust first? Okay. If it's got a slider, okay. Cool. So we will launch our session here shortly. Just waiting on that to spin up now. This will be one of the videos that I go back and rewatch so that I can make sure I fully appreciate the different things. So if there is a steering, is that going to be in generic? Oh, okay, it's already in-game? Alright, I wasn't sure if that was in the tuning menu, for example. Okay. Yeah, the far right menu is... Okay, and then what is that going to be called? Is that force feedback controller, or... Okay, so this particular car... It's just got slips, road, curbs, and ABS. Uh-huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's gonna be where it kicks a vibration into the wheel to simulate the ABS firing off. Is that correct? Okay. Okay. We'll roll that down off to the side. The forces. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, it's pedals. Here we go. I think, yeah, that's as big as that gets. Does it matter where I position this? It probably doesn't on... As long... Yeah, we'll put it up here where it's nice and easy to see. Okay. Get a little speed up. Ooh. Okay, that's kind of heavy. I'm trying to think about what my real car feels like, which is so distracting. That's good, because, yeah, I definitely can't watch that while I'm... Bonk. Yeah, this is, easy enough to drive. It's not really giving me any issues. I'm not doing any super fast transitions, but... It seems pretty good to me. Let's see. I think it's a little heavy right now, but not bad. Yeah, one of the things, and this is more for viewers, just in general too, Okay, so reduce max force in the VRS app. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and now that I'm a little bit more in tune with what we're needing to do, I can help with that. Okay, yeah, this is definitely lighter. It feels pretty good in this, just jerking the wheel a little bit, thinking about like doing an initiation. But it's also weird that it's not throwing me around, which is like normal, but now that I'm thinking about realism, that's the first thing that comes to mind. One of the things I struggle with when I try to get realistic steering is that without the force feedback, I frequently forget to like counter steer. It sounds silly, but I'll get caught up in a tandem and I will like hold the wheel a little too long on transition and then angle stall. But yeah, my car probably feels pretty close to this. I'll go up a few percent for this car, but that's not too bad. Okay. And I'm trying to pull that up. So if I have max force at 45%, do I need to figure out what 45% of 20 is? Because that's my wheel's output? Okay. Yeah, I got you. Okay. So, settings. And then we'll come back to Assetto Corsa, force feedback. So, if it is... Sorry, did you say I would just do the same percentage? Or would I actually have to figure out? Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it. Let's see what that feels like. That's so interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then if I want the wheel to be more difficult to turn in general, like in a across-the-board linear way, that would be that friction slider. Yeah, okay. So it makes sense that I wouldn't really want that normally. Right. Which manual racks are interesting. They're actually quite light when you're going 20 miles an hour or more. They're just awful in parking lots. I feel like this is pretty close to how my car feels. Like at a glance, I almost want to go drive it now, but now that I'm really trying to focus on it, but I think that it's pretty good. And so then on a per car basis, would I be adjusting the force feedback controller, or would I be leaving that just at 100? Okay, it's all in software. Okay, okay. Interesting. Okay. That one's a little bit strange. I may have to do some circuit driving to figure that out, because like I'm not really spinning the car out on transition, and generally that's my indicator for if stuff is too slow, is if I feel like I shouldn't have spun. Because generally I let go of the wheel like earlier than I need to by a lot. Like I can let go of it way over here, which is like a half second before the car transitions, you know? And so as long as the wheel's keeping up here, then it's not usually an issue for me. I think it's okay, but if I wanted to adjust the self-steer speed, what would you suggest? Okay. Alright, and we can't adjust that separately? Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure. Yeah, and like, obviously with your sample size of 1, you know, it'll be helpful to have some more folks. We've got, so Black Humber has put into the Direct Drive chat channel in my Discord, which is under the general category for anybody who doesn't know. There's some really interesting discussion in there if you want to go back and read through some of the history. But we have an invitation to explore and share your feedback. So if more folks with direct drive wheels want to jump in and give this a try, we can crowdsource a little bit more knowledge a little bit faster. Which I'll be joining that fray now that I've finally taken a minute to fool with it. Ah, jeez. This would be fun to do in real life. I haven't drifted this fast in a long time. So then the next thing to do, of course, will be to test this on a real track and then continue to tweak it a little bit and see what we think. Is there anything else that, just in terms of your findings so far and what you've been researching about how Assetto Corsa force feedback works, or unique things for direct drive wheel owners that might be interesting? And EasyMo, he's got a Moza R9, and then I'm on a virtual racing school, a VRS Direct Force Pro. Anything else that you might want to share with the crew while we've got you, or? Yeah. Hmm. True, and I still have my damping where it was, which was at 20%, so I might want to try turning that down and just see how much more data comes through the wheel to me. Potentially to the point of being annoying, but that's good. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting that some folks can. I'm not sure why that is, because it's all coming through OBS into the stream, so you would think that it's all getting bundled into the one pipeline that's going to the internet. But I'll just have to listen to my own stream after it ends, and it is what it is. Sorry, I'm not gonna be able to figure out how to fix it live. Some folks have said they can hear it just fine. So, mhm. Okay. That makes sense. I I have turned it up some because I recall my wheel still does this a little bit. I don't know that it really overshoots per se, but sometimes I feel like it self steers faster than it could in real life, and it gets to the right point, which is good. But I feel like it shouldn't help me in that way, and sometimes it's just like a little bit too snappy because there will be times, at least in my driving style, where I'll initiate in and then I'll counter steer, and as I'm counter steering, I'll like do this and let the wheel. I'll open my fingers and then catch the wheel, and if I didn't leave my hands like loose long enough for it to self steer the amount I want, then I'll like give it another little pump of releasing the wheel, and like so it'll just chick 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 and kind of jump through my fingers until it gets to where it needs to be. And the better you are as a driver, the more accurately you gauge how long to let the wheel spin, because you sort of see it in your peripheral vision. You see the car's transition and direction change as well, and so like your mind can link all of that information together into hitting pretty close to the amount of like time you need to let go of the wheel and when to let it get its self steering. But when you miss by a little bit, inevitably, then like it's just these little slips that you allow the wheel to do. And sometimes I feel like if I'm off by a bit more than usual and I'm letting the wheel slip, it's like really pulling a little bit more than I feel like it should be to try to get where it wants to be. So I've been turning my damping up a little bit to try to counteract that, but otherwise I feel like it's been pretty good. I'll have to, because I've got my old setting saved and this setting saved as well, go back and really turn down the dampening until I hit too much and then ease it back up and see if 20 is where I feel like is best now or if it maybe is lower at 15 or 10. Yeah, of course. I was just getting ready to offer that up because I knew you said you had about half an hour. So thank you for the information for me and the community who could hear, and I'll try to figure out how to get that setting fixed for future live streams. But I appreciate it. I'm sure the crew does as well. So thanks so much. If you guys have questions for Black Ombre, he is in the Discord and he's active all over the place, but especially in that direct drive chat channel under our general category. Feel free to hit him up in there. And hopefully we can crowdsource even better understandings of Assetto Corsa and direct drive wheel force feedback. All right, man, thanks so much. All right, we'll see it. Cool, that was really nice. I super appreciate that. I have been needing to do that for so long. And, you know, sometimes you just don't manage to make time for what you would like to. I'm going to go to Clips and do some POV driving for the next little bit. And then, in about, I don't know, 20 minutes, we will watch this premiere of my latest How to Drift tutorial. Essentially what I did for that was I took my fairly well-received How to Drift in Assetto Corsa without spinning out video, and I made a real-life version of that. I didn't title it exactly the same thing, and maybe I should, because I think that's a banger title as far as clickability on YouTube, which is more than half the battle, unfortunately. If you guys want to know a little bit about how YouTube works, the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if your video is trash or not, or if it's the best video on earth, because if nobody clicks it, then you're not going to be able to have it go anywhere. So I'm gonna roll with the title that I've got, but I do think that How to Drift Without Spinning Out is definitely a thing that people wonder. Oh, somehow I spawned into like a weird part of the map. There we go. That's less bad. I've just taken us over to BattleRidge, where I can feel how the car drives. We do have a, now that I'm like back and attentive to chat a little bit more, we do have a how-to, like a settings collection channel for Thrustmaster and Logitech, as well as Fanatic wheels as well. So this is a track that I basically designed and then had put together by a member of the Discord known as Canadian. Did I even turn on POV? Okay, I always second guess myself about that because most streams I forget at some point and leave it on the background. Oh, a little too hard there. The tiniest of wall taps. You're right, Bullet. I may update that title. I have a different thumbnail for it too. I've got a couple of different options depending. On how we feel like it goes. But I'm just feeling of the car as I drive it around this super unusual fantasy track. And this track is free. It's available on Race Department if you just search for KameTrick's BattleRidge. It's a pretty fun track to get to the top. We made it flow pretty well. But it's not completely easy. You do have to have some degree of line control in your drifting and know when to transition. So if your timing is off by very much, you will end up falling off the cliffs. Sometimes you'll jump the cliffs as well. What's up, No Name? Just getting into sim and drifting on Assetto Corsa. As I continue to demonstrate that I cannot read chat while I drift on certain tracks. Hop into the Discord. It is linked in the video description, and there you can find all manner of good information, folks who want to drive, and then usually in my live stream we are driving together, and we will be in a little bit. I'm just gonna spend some time paying full attention to how my wheel feels after we adjusted the direct drive settings. It's a little notchy right now at certain times, but only certain times, which is weird. It's very difficult to, probably pointless to try to articulate stuff that I'm feeling that really you can't see anywhere, unless the FFB indicator, which the pedals app is behind the chat pop-up for me, is clipping. Oh, you guys can't see it either in this view, now that I think about it. Oh, I think I felt the brakes through the wheel. That would be new. Yeah, I think I can feel the understeer a bit too. I'm gonna try to understeer on purpose here. Come in foot brake. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. Yeah, a lot of our folks went from Logi wheels to direct drives. Oops. I need to pay a little bit of attention. A lot of our regulars have gone from Logitech or kind of like entry-level belt drive wheels straight up to direct drives. And, I mean, everybody who makes the jump says it's worth it. Over here making this track look really hard all of a sudden, even though it's really not if you just pay attention and you don't rush anything. ABS, what's funny about that is, like, really you were cheating yourself before by using, like, not a belt drive or direct drive wheel, but I get the feeling like it's so effortless. And so is drifting a real car. It's not easy necessarily, but unfortunately a lot of people are struggling with gear drive or gear belt hybrid wheels, and they just have no idea that they're making it so difficult for themselves, and it's really not that hard. Like, you shouldn't have to steer the car with anything other than your right foot on transition. You can see that I'm basically... And I drive differently with my hands on the wheel depending on what point I'm trying to make or my mood. But a lot of the time, I'm just kind of like I'm just pulling my fingers open like this, and I'm giving the wheel a little bit of friction with my palms. But mostly I'm just letting it spin freely. Yeah, I think it's really fascinating thinking about all the folks who... It's like, for me, there was not an option to sim drift when I got into drifting. I'm sure that there were driving simulators, but I mean, this was before YouTube and Facebook and MySpace, so anything that it would have been like, you know, 480p, just miserable, like, original Legend of Zelda looking graphics, it would have not been remotely convincing. And it probably would have been super expensive and massive. It just would have been a convincing thing. So there was no option other than real drifting when I was getting into this. But I do think about what would it be like to get into sim drifting now, where, like, you can watch 2 or 3 YouTube videos and then go buy, you know, drop a bit, but $800,000 if you really wanted to, on like a very nice setup and get you a direct drive, or at least a T300 and TCLM pedals and a theta shifter. Several $100 for sure, but you could get one of those and have never driven a car. You have no, like, sense of risk, danger, or fear, and you just objectively learn the muscle memory, the timing, and in general what does what. And what happens when a person who didn't have to approach every drift they tried thinking like, oh, I hope I don't stuff the car. I hope I don't get stranded out here in the middle of the night or in this other state because I street drove to an event. You know, like, people with no fear whatsoever. What kind of result do they have when they get behind the wheel? I'm sure they'll drive excellent. I'm just wondering if people will, like, overdrive. Or maybe if they'll be even better. And, like, the concern about potentially wiping out in your real car is just a distraction. Because if you're good, you're not going to wipe out, so you can erase that concern from your mind. Ooh, way too fast. I feel like the brakes are not working. Let's do Jay-Z. My son had never driven a manual car in his life, spent 4 or 5 months on our sim. My first time drifting, he linked the track by the end of the day. Oh, looks like I have busted one of my wheels because the car is driving all strange and not sitting level. Yeah, that's my belief as well. I'm certain that if I had somebody that I worked with for, you know, a couple of weeks and got them linking tracks in Assetto, that I could put them in my car and they would be able to link the track decently, or at least link like 7 out of like 70% of the turns, you know, like 70% of the time. Like, they can do okay within their first track day or two. It's mostly just like getting permission, and most people who have a sim have spent their limited income on that. And like, I have a limited income too. If y'all are in the Discord following me, you'll know that I recently bought something kind of expensive. But it's not something I do often, even though I'm talking about upgrading my computer and buying some new camera gear. Oh, I have no doubt about it. Woo, board slide. Oops. ABS says, I've drifted twice in my R32. Very cool, by the way. And this is a real confidence booster, to be honest. But that's also the equally scary part. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, it's no different for me in a way. Like, I'm very seasoned. It's kind of like having a public speaking simulator. Like, imagine if there was a public speaking simulator, and imagine that you're a fairly normal person who doesn't live stream every week and who is uncomfortable speaking in public, and whether you realize it or not, you have some concerns about what people might think. Like, obviously I don't, because otherwise I wouldn't be looking like an idiot every week on Friday. I'm just not worried about it. And as soon as you're not worried about it, it's fine. But, like, if there was a sim where you could practice your public speaking, and you could actually get really comfortable at it, you'd be able to go crush it in real life, per se. But what you might find is that, like, even though you could, you may not necessarily want to. Like, for me, and this is kind of to ABS Model's comment, I have the skill to drive. I know I can drive well. I do it every week in the simulator, and I do it at most once a month. But sometimes every other month. It just depends. I'm trying to save some money right now to buy some other hardware at the moment. But, you know, like, I know that I've got skill. I don't have any worries about that. And even then, it's still kind of scary sometimes, depending on what you're doing. In the moment, it's not, but you have moments where, in hindsight, you're like, oh, that was probably not the smartest idea. I probably shouldn't have jumped into that 6-car tandem with a bunch of people that I've only, like, I know the first guy in the lead, and I don't know anybody else, but they all seem like we're friends, so, like, let's just send it. It's interesting how it works. That said, I wish I could take my car to Ebisu, or, like, I've drifted Ebisu before, but I'd love to take my car, like a car that I'm really confident in. Or up to, like, Itohasaka or some Tokyo roads in Japan. That would be so fun. My car would just absolutely be so easy to drive up there. It'd be so fun. Then he quit and I took his car. Nice. If you guys have any questions at events or want some feedback about driving tech, feel free to hit me up. Gonna see if we can't get a hole-in-one. Nope, no luck on that. We'll say that doing the car launching with a direct drive wheel is a little bit sketchier than it is in oh my, than it is with my old Fanatic wheel, because that track, that goofy little thing I just did, essentially, if you make it up to the top here, there is a big ramp, and you go up the big ramp, you get airtime, and then you do car skee ball. There's these 3 tubes with points, and so you try to see if you can land in the tube. But yeah, I don't know that I recommend that with a direct drive wheel. That gets a little violent. So there you go. Oh man, what a wild time. All right, so it is 9:53. At 10 o'clock, our premiere is launching. And that is a how to drift in real life video. It's only 5 or 6 minutes long. It's the first of a series, so it's pretty short. And what we are going to be doing, essentially, when this stream ends, when I end the stream, it should, I've done this before and it usually works for 60% of people at least, like of the people that reply, most of them say it does. It will transfer you into the premiere. And so I will be in live chat in that premiere. I will also be in the general chat. It is Assetto Corsa. Sorry, no, it's general hangout. I see Bruh is in Assetto Corsa in the Discord, but in the general hangout category, I'll be in voice chat there as well if anybody wants to hang. And we'll watch that together, chat about it, we can get feedback, whatever. And then after that, I will fire up our second track of the night, which is HT, Happy Tracks, Rhythm and Flow. And again, this stream will have ended, and it will ferry us over to there. So I don't know if I'll go back live again or not. I may. If not, then, you know, that will have been it. And drop your comments, drop your thoughts, and let me know what you think about our short video that is coming up here in just a little bit. And Meg, yeah, you did get here in time for the second track. So yeah, doing things just a little bit differently tonight. And again, if you're in the Discord, which, you know, is linked down in the description, then you can hop in the chat with me and we can all chillax a little bit before we move on to our second track. I do have, I think, 4 or 5 additional videos worth of content filmed in the How to Drift IRL series that I'm putting together. That's kind of my project for the rest of this year, is to see how much content I can make about that and see how that goes. So this first one is fairly simple, a little bit of a small scope, but it's really talking about how to get started in drifting and the essential fundamentals and the dynamics at play, what drifting is not, for like from the perspective of somebody who sees people doing like donuts at a streetcar takeover or something kind of silly, and they're like, oh, nice drifting, so that you can get those people and say, here's what drifting actually is. And if you watch the next video, which is not done yet, but you know, I'll be continuing to release and I'll make this chain of videos, you'll be able to then learn how to do it yourself. So that is what we have coming up. Also, for everybody who is in the live stream here, a early announcement that hasn't been posted anywhere else yet, although I will post it in the Discord here shortly, is that I am starting up that newsletter that I talked about during my last Garage Chat live stream. Don't expect a lot to get started. Like with anything, we have to try, experiment, learn, develop a groove, and then become decent at it. But one of the things I wanted to do was to put together a newsletter, totally free, like an email newsletter basically, that folks could opt into. And in there, I would be able to talk about what I'm up to, give you guys some looks into behind the scenes, show you what I am researching, what I'm watching or listening to, things I'm learning, And also I can talk about drift and driving technique. You can reply to those and they'll come to me. I will read everything, just like I'll read all the comments on the YouTube videos as well. So that's also like a two-way route of communication. And then last but not least is the fact that with that we can share basically like raw footage from events. If I want to just say like, hey, here's an unlisted video of a lap from my last drift event. It's not edited, it's super basic, super easy for me that I can send out to share for my fans who want to see more about what I'm up to than what I post. Because posting sort of like unedited content like that to YouTube does not do well, and it can actually hurt the channel. So there's times that I go to events and I will shoot, 20 minutes of driving footage, or 10, well, not really, because a lap is not that long, but 10 minutes of driving footage, and I won't necessarily upload it if I don't have any like greater story that I'm trying to tell. I just recorded it, on a whim, basically. So if that is something you're interested in, then you can obtain the invite to that by going to join.kametrick.com. I'll drop it into chat there. You don't have to. It's just if you're interested. I really only want people on the newsletter who actually are interested in what I want to talk about and who want to see a little bit more. So I'm going to put this in the description of my videos. I'm going to share that with folks in the Discord as well periodically. And if you're a real fan of me and my content, then I think it would be a cool thing, because it's basically just more of that. But if you are new and you're not really sure and you're kind of sizing it up, it's up to you. No pressure. I just hope that folks who are interested in seeing what that is give it a look, and we'll see. Basically, twice a month I'll send something out. So every other Friday is what I'm thinking about doing. I don't have it like fully figured out, but you got to start somewhere, and a lot of times it's better to just start rather than worry about what's best and research this and that. Same for drifting. Like if you're on the fence about it, just like buy your sim, go drive, go try it. Or if you have a real car that you're thinking about drifting and you're not super confident, air up the rear tires, go to an event. Don't try to do all the hard, fast corners. Do the short hairpins where you're not going to go flying off the track at 20 miles an hour. And just start. That is the moral of the story, always and forever, that has governed a lot of my non-failure in life. Like anytime that I succeed, it's because I just started. So we're going to start that, and we're also going to start to jump into this premiere. With that said, I will see you guys over there. If for any reason it kicks you out and doesn't take you to the premiere, just go to the KameTrick YouTube channel, and from there you can click into that premiere on how to drift your car. Basically, it's how to do a perfect drift donut. And we'll have a short countdown. Again, I'll be in voice chat in the channel as well, and we'll see you guys there. Peace.